Welcome back, my friends. I hope your day is filled with peace, love, and warmth. Today, let's talk about something that's both beautiful and incredibly challenging: our relationships with our parents, and more specifically, the connection between parents and children. Now, we all know that one of the most meaningful and emotional relationships we experience in life is the bond between parent and child. It brings so much warmth and joy. But let's be honest, it can also be the source of some of our deepest frustrations, pain, and confusion. Why? Because we're talking about two completely different generations trying to relate to each other, each with their own way of seeing the world. Let's start from the parents' perspective. When they look at today's younger generation, many of them carry negative assumptions. They see young people as entitled, self-absorbed, irresponsible, just living life on autopilot, chasing pleasure without thinking of consequences. Some parents feel like today's youth lack moral integrity or depth of character, and because of that, many parents struggle to truly respect or trust their children. So when they talk to their kids, it often comes from a place of criticism or comparison. Why aren't you like this? Why can't you be more like that? Every interaction becomes heavy, tense, even hurtful, sometimes without either side realizing it. The truth is, even when there's deep love underneath, parents and kids just aren't always able to connect. Because here's the thing, parents weren't born in this era. They didn't grow up with the same social pressures, mental health challenges, or cultural shifts that today's generation is facing. Can they really be expected to fully understand the internal struggles their kids are going through? And yet, a lot of the pain young people feel is actually influenced by things passed down from previous generations, especially from their own parents. From genetics to the way they were raised, to the emotional environment they grew up in, these all shape a child's development. So let's ask a real question. Are all parents really these perfect, wise, peaceful beings who always knew what they were doing? Of course not. Most parents are just trying to figure it out as they go. They've been through their own struggles during the transition from one generation to the next. They weren't trained psychologists or educators or monks. They're just humans, often overwhelmed, sometimes scared, and not always emotionally equipped to raise a child in this fast-changing world. And like in any relationship, love often comes with strings attached, with expectations, with conditions. Even when they think they're helping, parents can unknowingly pressure their kids. They try to mold them based on what they think is best, but forget to see the person right in front of them. Have parents ever stopped to truly ask, do I really understand my child? Not just from the surface, but deep down, in their thoughts, in their emotions, in their fears. Understanding someone takes more than love. It takes presence. It takes listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart. It takes seeing them the way a scientist might observe a living experiment, with curiosity, patience, and without judgment. But many parents look at their children through a filter of old beliefs, assumptions, and cultural norms. And when you do that, you're not seeing your child for who they are. You're just seeing your expectations reflected back at you. The truth is, most parents don't even realize how much their own trauma, stress, and life experiences affect how they treat their kids. They might not see how much the noise of society, the media, the gossip, the pressures has shaped their thinking. They might not recognize when they're operating from fear rather than love. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a crisis, like when a child hits rock bottom, becomes depressed, or completely disconnects emotionally, for a parent to finally stop making demands. But even then, some still don't let go. Even when their child is drained and has nothing left to give, they continue to expect, to push, to insist they know what's best. That kind of love can feel suffocating. But there are some parents who choose to pause, who begin to reflect, who dare to ask themselves, if I were born in this generation, Would I really have done better? Let's be real, probably not. They would have faced the same digital distractions, the same social pressures, the same identity crises. Because today's kids aren't weak. They're navigating a world that's completely different from the one their parents grew up in. Some parents even take the brave step of talking to therapists or spiritual teachers. They're willing to learn about what young people today are actually going through. They look at their own beliefs and begin to release some of the fear, the tension, the unprocessed pain they've been holding inside for years. And when that happens, something powerful shifts. A parent who's found peace within themselves, a parent who has released their need to control, a parent who has healed their own inner wounds. That's the kind of parent who can truly love without conditions. Only then can they look at their child and see someone worthy of compassion, not correction. Someone who is hurting, not broken. Someone who needs to be understood, not fixed. Because only when we deeply understand someone, truly see them, can we begin to love them in the right way. Loving someone doesn't mean letting them do whatever they want. It also doesn't mean constantly interfering. Sometimes the most powerful thing a parent can do is step back, watch, listen, let their child be who they are, let them fall, let them rise, let them experience the world. Because every child is not just our child, they are a continuation of all the generations that came before. They carry within them a mix of ancestry, wisdom, pain, and purpose, and they also carry the dreams of the universe itself. So let them grow, let them become. Trust in the journey, even when it's messy. There's this beautiful song, "What a Wonderful World." There's a line that goes, "I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know." And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. It's humbling, isn't it? To realize our kids are going to learn things we may never fully understand. They're going to experience life in ways we never imagined. And that's okay. As parents, the greatest joy might not come from shaping our children into who we think they should be, but from witnessing who they become on their own. Because real happiness for a parent doesn't always come from being the center of their child's success story. It comes from knowing their child is growing strong, standing tall, facing life with courage, even if the parent only played a quiet, supporting role in the background. That's already a huge contribution. A parent who creates space for their child to stumble, to explore, to question, without rushing in to control or correct, is offering something truly sacred. And yes, that journey is full of highs and lows. Sometimes your kid will thrive, other times they'll crash and burn. They'll rise, fall, succeed, fail. But that's part of it. The pain, the struggle, that's what strengthens them. That's what helps them find their own path. As parents, we can't walk the road for them, but we can walk beside them. Every child needs their own path. They need the freedom to discover who they really are, not just be a carbon copy of their parents' hopes or regrets. They aren't here to fulfill our unfinished dreams or to make up for our past mistakes. They're here to live their own truth. And while it's okay for kids to carry forward their parents' legacy, it's even more important that they do so with awareness. They should know that yes, they come from their parents, but they're also so much more. They are the sum of many generations, carrying with them stories, strengths, and scars from long before they were born. And at the same time, they're the start of something new. So kids, know this. You don't have to meet every expectation your parents put on you. Not all of them are fair. Not all of them are even possible. But what is important is that you honor where you came from, while also stepping into who you truly are. Live a life that's grounded in peace, filled with joy and rich with kindness. Not just to make your parents proud, but because it's your birthright as a human being. Make choices that align with your soul. Create relationships that nurture you. Explore the world with curiosity. And if you can, help others along the way. That's how you truly live a meaningful life. Because here's something parents might forget sometimes. Their children still have so many beautiful qualities. Qualities that just need to be seen, nurtured, and appreciated. But those qualities get overlooked when the focus is always on what's lacking. Parents, if you only look at what your child isn't doing right, you'll miss everything they are doing right. And children, it's not just your parents who need to understand you. You also need to understand them. Try to see their struggles, their fears, their limitations. See the battles they fought long before you were born, the things they never had a chance to heal from, the sacrifices they made without ever telling you. Because once you recognize all that, your heart will soften. You'll stop seeing them as these unreachable, overly demanding figures, and start seeing them as human beings. Flawed, yes, but also full of love, even if it's expressed in imperfect ways. You might even begin to notice the precious things you've inherited from them, not just their mistakes, but their strengths, their talents, their values, the parts of them that live in you. And that's where real connection begins. Because relationships, especially ones between parents and children, can't be one-sided. They require effort from both sides. Not just love, but understanding. Not just tradition, but transformation. Kids, don't just wait for your parents to get you. Help them understand. Create space for conversation. Invite them into your world. Explain, not with anger or blame, but with patience and honesty. Help them see what you're passionate about, what worries you, what excites you. And if they can walk that road with you, even just a few steps, you'll both be stronger for it. When a parent truly respects their child, and when a child truly honors their parent, a powerful energy flows between them. It becomes a kind of invisible support system, a foundation, a source of emotional strength that you can draw from for the rest of your life. A lot of people go through life chasing success, happiness, love from the outside. But if you've got a strong connection with your family, especially your parents, you're already rich in a way that money can't buy. That kind of love, when it's unconditional and wise, it lifts you. It gives you courage. It reminds you who you are. But here's the truth. Not every parent-child relationship gets to that point. Some are deeply broken. Some are stuck in old pain, misunderstanding, or silence. And if that's where your family is right now, that's okay. Healing takes time. It might start with one small step, a conversation, an apology, a moment of listening without judgment. You don't have to fix everything at once, but you do have to be willing to show up with humility, with curiosity, with heart. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's about connection. It's about saying, I may not understand everything about you, but I want to try. I want to know you better. And sometimes all it takes is that, someone reaching across the gap. Because whether you're a parent, a child, or both, one thing is certain. We all want to be seen. We all want to be heard. We all want to feel like we matter. So let's do that for each other. Let's make space for growth, for failure, for becoming. Let's allow each other to be human, messy, incomplete, in progress. And let's protect this bond, this sacred relationship between parents and children. It's one of the few things in life that, when handled with care, can bring healing not just to one family, but to generations. So now that we've walked through the pain points, the misunderstandings, and the growth potential between parents and children, let's talk about what it really means to love and support one another as a family. Because love isn't just about emotions. It's not just hugs or gifts or saying I love you. Real love is presence. It's patience. It's acceptance. It's choosing to stay connected even when it's hard. Parents, your kids don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be present, to believe in them, to see beyond the grades, the choices you don't agree with, the mistakes. They need you to see their essence, that inner light that's still growing, still figuring itself out. Sometimes, loving your child means letting go of your image of who you thought they'd be and embracing who they actually are. And children, you're not just passive receivers in this relationship. You have a role to play too. It's easy to focus on what your parents got wrong, but healing can't happen if all we do is point fingers. Take a moment to see your parents as people, not just as mom or dad, but as individuals who were once kids too, who were raised by their own imperfect parents, who carry wounds they may not even know how to talk about. When we can both look at each other, parent and child, with compassion, everything changes. The next time your mom nags you or your dad doesn't get what you're trying to say, ask yourself, what might they be feeling right now? Fear, pressure, a sense of failure? Often their frustration is just fear in disguise. Fear that you'll suffer, that you'll make the same mistakes they did, or that they'll lose you. And the next time your kid shuts the door or gives you an eye roll, parents, pause. Don't go straight to punishment or guilt. Ask yourself, what might be going on underneath? Maybe they're anxious. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Maybe they just don't have the words to express what's really happening inside. Understanding each other doesn't mean agreeing on everything. It just means trying, with openness, with heart. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in a parent-child relationship is simply listen. Not with an agenda, not waiting for your turn to speak. Just listen. Give each other the chance to speak your truths, to share your fears, to be vulnerable without being judged. You'd be amazed how healing it is just to be heard. Now here's something powerful to remember. Every one of us is part of a lineage. None of us exists in isolation. We carry within us the dreams, the traumas, the strengths, and the struggles of generations before us. So when a parent and a child heal their relationship, even just a little, they're not just healing themselves, they're healing a generational wound. They're changing the course for everyone who comes after. That's why this work is so important. This isn't just about getting along better. It's about changing the emotional DNA of a family. It's about breaking cycles of shame, fear, control, and replacing them with empathy, trust, and love. Imagine what happens when a parent starts to truly respect their child's individuality. Imagine what happens when a child starts to appreciate the sacrifices their parents made. That's how families grow stronger. That's how the next generation becomes more resilient, more connected, more whole. It's never too late to start. Even if your relationship has been rocky for years, even if you've said things you regret, even if the silence between you feels like a canyon, it's never too late to reach across. You might not fix everything in one conversation. That's okay. What matters is the intention, the willingness, the effort. A simple, "I want to understand you better," can open more doors than a lifetime of criticism ever could. So if you're a parent watching this, ask yourself, what's one way I can show my child that I trust them? Not just love them, but trust them. And if you're a child watching this, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today to show my parents I see them, not just as authority figures, but as human beings doing their best? Because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing: to love, to be loved, to belong, to feel safe in our families. That's what makes life rich. And listen, if you're someone who didn't grow up with supportive parents, or if your relationship with your child is currently distant or strained, know this: healing is still possible. It might look different than what you imagined, but that doesn't make it any less real. Sometimes the healing begins within yourself, learning to forgive, learning to release, learning to nurture the inner child or the wounded parent within you. Sometimes you have to become the kind of parent to yourself that you never had, or the kind of child to yourself that was never fully seen. And that, too, is powerful work. Because when you begin to change, everything around you shifts. Maybe not overnight, but slowly, deeply. You become the ripple. You become the start of something new. And isn't that what we all want? To know that we're not stuck in old patterns? That we can grow, evolve, and love better than the generation before us? It's possible. It starts with one step, one conversation, one open heart. So take that step today. Talk to your parent, talk to your child, or if they're not ready, just talk to yourself with more kindness. That counts too. Let's rewrite the story. Let's be the generation that learns how to love with more clarity, more courage, and more compassion. Let's choose understanding over judgment, curiosity over control, connection over perfection. Because in the end, that's what we're here for. Not just to survive, not just to succeed, but to love well. And love, when it's honest and awake, can change everything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for being willing to look within and love a little deeper, whether you're a parent, a child, or both. If this message touched you in any way, feel free to share it with someone who needs to hear it. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's support each other. Let's grow together.